Hi, this is MIcornus, Phokane, the leader and the founder of Church Governance Solutions. Today, I just want to deal with the dangers of hoping churches chasing after miracles, the dangers of people hoping from one church to another, chasing after miracles. And we seeing that in the days that we're living in right now, where people move from one church to another. We speak about members here. We're speaking about people that don't know what they want. At the end of the day, they run from one church to another. These are the very same people that will accuse other pastors not to be powerful enough. No, he's not having fire. He's not powerful. He's not prophesying on me. He's not hearing from God because he's saying nothing to me when I'm in his church. And they will move from one church to another because they believe that there are pastors that are powerful than others. And sometimes they actually are duped by even false miracles, things that people cook and call them miracles. And we see people crowding in areas like that. And we have seen preachers that are duping people with false miracles. They're inviting crowds, or they rather attracting crowds in their meetings. And we see church members that move from one place to another, and they follow such preachers, and they become actually attracted to what is called miracles. As I say, some of them are really not true miracles at all. They're false miracles. But people follow them. Now, I want to show you the dangers as a member to follow such preachers and hop from one place to another and in the name of miracles. The first thing is that you're exposing yourself to foreign or demonic spirits. You actually expose yourself to evil platforms. Because remember that what's happening in those places is not just something that is usual and normal. It's a spiritual stronghold. It's something that is dangerous to you, because when you open up to it and expose yourself to it, you may actually attract spirits that you may not stand at the end of the day. So I want to urge people that are hopping from one church to another, that be careful of the type of spirits that you expose yourself to. And that is why church hoppers generally, they actually hop from one church to another. They don't become stable. And majority of them, they become unstable spiritually in a way that they don't even grow. And they don't even mature spiritually. And they become deceived because they're following every single wind that passes. And I want to warn you, if you are somebody like that, who moves from your own church that is stable and follow someone because you say they're performing miracles, they are prophetic upon my life, they are running deliverance services and so on. And you follow those people and you move from your stable church and your stable pastor and your stable visionary, and you move to a church like that. And sometimes this is the reason why you start actually having sleepless nights, because of things walking over your roof and so on. It's because you have exposed yourself to spirits that are not godly, to spirits that are evil. And sometimes you face challenges whereby even the situation at home is just, you touch this, it's not successful, and everything that you touch falls apart. And sometimes you think like you've been cursed. It's not a curse per se, but it's an exposure of spirits that you have exposed yourself to. Remember that we speak about spirituality here. We speak about spiritual grounds here. We speak about altars. And if you are exposing yourself to certain altars, you're going to deal with spirits that you may not be able to handle next time. The other thing is you are delaying own spiritual maturity when you do that. And that's the reason why many people hopping from one church to another. The reason is because you are eating different menus. You are actually eating food that is not actually building the body. It's not building your spiritual life. And you move from one place to another where the teachings are different. Some are teaching actually different teachings that are actually false teachings sometimes. Those that are deception teachings, and you sit under those. Then you start to get confused to know exactly what is the true word of God and what is not. And that is the reason that people that are hopping from one church to another, they delay their spiritual maturity, and they're forever babies in the spirit. And therefore they cannot stand for themselves. And you find out by seeing these people relying on ministers, actually. And sometimes hero worship ministers in a way that they cannot themselves pray for themselves. They cannot actually deal with spirits themselves. They cannot mature to a level where they can actually be able to worship God on their own. So they are not able to actually take care of their own spiritual life, and they rely on a minister to take over their responsibility of looking after the spiritual life. Just as a mere headache overnight, they call a pastor to pray for them. And something that you can easily pray for yourself. And that shows a level of immaturity. But it's caused by hopping from one church to another. Because when you move from one church to another, your spiritual maturity becomes retarded. And you become actually a retarded spiritual person, to an extent that you cannot actually be able to do things yourself. And that's something that we want to warn you. So you're denying yourself also opportunity to learn submission. And because many people move from one church to another, particularly because they would say, no, I want to go to that particular church because there are miracles. I want to go to that particular church because there is prophecy and so on. And you find that when they move into that particular church, they become the nobodies. They are not known. Actually, they're hiding behind and warming benches and become part of the crowd. And they don't participate actually in activities of the church, because submission will speak to being able to participate. Submission will speak to particularly a power of affiliation, where you affiliate in a certain church in order to serve. And people that are actually running after miracles, they're not ready to serve. They want to be serviced themselves through the miracles that they're chasing after. So they don't want to become servants. They want to become people that receive services, and they want to be people that are receiving ministrations, and they're the people that want to see miracles upon them. They're not ready to serve others, and that actually therefore denies them opportunity to submit, because submission is such a privilege. And I want to urge you to understand that God honors people that can submit. So even people that submit to you is because you've submitted somewhere. So it means that if you are somebody who's called to become a minister yourself in the future, and you open your own church, don't then expect it to be submitted to if you cannot submit to anyone now. So therefore, don't expect other people to submit to you as well. So opportunity to submit is one of those things that you deny yourself by hopping from one church to another. Now, expecting miracles in every thing denies you opportunity to exercise your patience. Because majority of the people that think that everything must come through miracle, they cannot pray and be patient with God for God to bring the answer. They actually want things to be instant. They want things to go miraculously. But I want to urge you that you cannot run after miracles and actually expect yourself to be patient as well. Remember that God doesn't operate in miracles. God operates in principles. So therefore, if you are not actually aligning yourself to principles, you cannot be patient enough, because it's only when you are able to become patient that you will start to see greater things happening in your life. So expecting miracles and everything then denies you opportunity to become patient with your life, patient with God, patient with the workings of God in your life. So that's something that you deny yourself from as well. Now, church hopping denies you benefits of a spiritual home. What are the benefits of spiritual home? When you are having problems, there are saints and brethren that can assist you. When there's no food on the table, there are saints and brethren that will support you. And particularly, the church can decide as well to buy you some groceries and to assist you, because you're a consistent member in this particular church. Just imagine if you've lost a loved one, your mother, your father, and there's no church member that comes to support you. And there's nobody, there's no preacher or pastor who's coming actually to bury your mother and your father. You will be hurt for the rest of your life. You'll start hating church because you'll feel that church is not the right place to be. Only to find that it is you who's not the right person in church, because you're hopping from one place to another. And when you hop to a church, you are not actually even patient enough to be known in that church. You are not participating in that church to be known, to be supported as well. And I want to say this, that you need a spiritual home for people to support you. There's a power in fellowshipping in a stable spiritual home, where everybody knows you, they know your participation, they know the service that you render in the particular church. Because people want to assist those people that are rendering service. Those people that support others can be supported as well. Because this is very important that we understand that it's actually a sowing and reaping principle, whereby when you sow into other people's lives, you're going to reap the same thing that you've sown into them. When you sow support, when you sow help, when you sow fellowship with those people, you're going to get exactly that from the people when you are in need. And people that are hopping from one church to another, they don't get these benefits. And as a result, they hate church because they feel that church is biased and they are having favorized, they're favoring other people and so on, only to find that you don't introspect. You don't look at yourself and say, but I've not actually invested anything in this particular church, so therefore I cannot expect the help from them. So please remember that it is very important that you get spiritual home benefits by actually staying and have a spiritual home that is stable for you. So you expose yourself to spiritual malnutrition due to lack of balanced diet, as I've said. So therefore, the spiritual diet is very important. So because different churches are teaching certain doctrines that are not the same, and generally they are not teaching the same different messages, the different messages that may actually cause indigestion in your spiritual system, whereby you're not actually taught balanced diet to grow spiritually in a certain way. And that is why we find people that hop from one church to another, they are not matured. They've got actually a piece of that and a piece of that and a piece of that. When you bring together, those things are not matching because they have not actually built a proper foundation that we call a proper spiritual diet in your life. And therefore you are imbalanced in your spiritual life because of no proper spiritual diet. Limits chances actually of discovering and developing own purpose as well. And you really limit that opportunity to develop your own vision. And generally people like that hops from one church to another, they don't actually develop own vision, they don't develop their own spiritual direction and purpose as well. And you find that they don't even know what they're called for. They don't know what the assignment, because you learn to establish your assignment in a particular church when you participate. When you are a servant in a particular church, you are able actually to learn how, what assignment actually is suited for you and what are you called for. And generally people that are participating in churches more consistently, they are actually prone quickly to understand what their purposes and callings are, their assignments, and they are able actually to follow those assignments and articulate them very well. This is very important that you know that you are actually diminishing your own chances by hopping from one church to another. I want to end up here today, your host, MIcornus Phokane, the leader and the founder of Church Governance Solutions. Remember, we are restoring godly order in the house of the orderly God. So follow our social media platforms, our Facebook page, Church Governance Solutions, and my own personal Facebook page is MIcornus Phokane. So click like there and follow us. Don't forget our YouTube channel, Young Men Empowerment Forum, and follow us there as well. So please subscribe to this YouTube channel, click notification button. Don't forget our TikTok account as well, and our Instagram is there under MIcornus Phokane. So follow us there and like those platforms as well. But continue sharing them as well to your loved ones. Could be your family and your relatives. It could be your workmates, which is your colleagues at work. And the good Lord will bless you as well as you do that. And until we meet again with another topic, may the good Lord bless you and allow me to check out right here and say cheers for now.